All right, howdy and welcome to Remote Workshop. We are two 100% remote working niche-based recruiters, and we're having conversations with folks about doing business and building business remotely. My name is Blake Pellerin. I work for Civil Search Consultants. We place civil engineers and land surveyors across the state of Texas. We were founded in 2017.
And my name is Eric Stigge. I work for Converge Resources. We place IT and automation folks all over the country. Converge was founded in 2019.
Last time we were talking, Eric and I were giving our kind of introduction to this remote workshop conversation series. And so that was it. You can find that in the YouTube channel here on the Remote Workshop YouTube channel if you feel so inclined. Today we are talking with Jeff Thigpen, who is an old colleague of both of us. At one time he was our boss, and so now we are working with him on some other things, and I'll let him share a little bit more about how he spends his time. Jeff, you mind filling us in?
Sure. So I spend my day actually working in two different companies. As Blake mentioned, Civil Search Consultants is about 3 years old. And then last year we had an opportunity to work with Eric again at Converge Resources. So civil infrastructure recruiting would be, as Blake mentioned, the Civil Search Consultant side. And then obviously what Converge Resources does is the IT and automation, or IT/OT recruiting. So that's where I spend my day. Naturally, initially I did mostly, full desk recruiting with Civil Search Consultants, but I managed the back office financial side of both companies, as well as the integrated software and resources that we use to run the business and to manage contractors and clients, and includes payroll and many of the other fun things that are involved with the back office to support operations and sales and delivery.
Cool. So you and I got kind of a yin and yang, I guess, roles with both of our endeavors anyway that we get into here. So that's pretty fun. So we'll just jump into some of the questions here and dive right in. Eric, you got anything to add or take away from anything so far?
No, we're good. Go. Okay. Let's fire away.
Sounds good. So Jeff, in the work that Converge Resources and Civil Search Consultants do, how would you? I just want to get your definition and how you would define success for the companies themselves, or let's say the companies and or your personal role in the companies. How would you define success?
Sure. So that's developed over time. When it was just Blake and I when we started Civil Search Consultants, but now with Converge Resources and Civil Search Consultants both growing, that's adding people, and that adds additional responsibilities and additional requirements, load requirements on our systems and operations and finances mainly. So success for me would be our companies being able to deliver to our clients, obviously, and also making money so that we can continue to provide opportunities for our employees and continue to grow, also support our clients, keep our systems where they need to be so that they're easy and seamless to work with. So I feel successful as far as a feeling is concerned, when the recruiters and the people that work with our clients and our candidates are able to seamlessly work within our systems so they can deliver. And then when we have people working at our clients' sites remotely, for when things work seamlessly, for clients and for our contractors, for us keeping time, getting invoicing, things of that nature from the operation or the back end smoothness side, if you will. So no hiccups. I'm successful when people don't go to work or work with us and think, oh, I have to work around this or I have to work around that. There shouldn't be a workaround. The workflow, I think we've done a great job of defining that and setting it up. And then, on my end, I had to support that through our systems. We use multiple different systems to deliver, from the financial to the time and expense to our front end CRM to marketing, and just having everything flow together, is important. So
What Jeff, what does your, average workday, work week kind of look like right now?
Right now, there's a lot of things that are much more unpredictable than before. So there's a lot of things that are much more difficult. The day's more difficult because you have things that will come my way, and I'll go in a little more detail on that are not necessarily able to be blocked out on your calendar, but that may need immediate attention. And so I would say, now that the crisis, if you will, this has impacted everybody. Supporting our strategic goals and being a good business partner with both companies in terms of understanding the economic impact and focusing, in areas where we need to focus more so in Converge Resources, because there are multiple different industries where the niche type people that we place can have a very profound impact on other people's business. So supporting that. Also, even though things are a little tough right now economically, we're actually going to be adding some headcount. Strategically, it makes sense. We had a good start to the year. I know that this stuff will pass. That's something that we're going to continue on with. So supporting new people and supporting our current people is important, but also, we have tried to take advantage of some of the economic stress relief, if you will, called stimulus that the government has put out there in the form of PPP loans. So I've been interacting a lot with banks and doing a lot of stuff in regard to the paperwork and reporting, and make sure that we're going to be compliant, and that we have that, we're going to use it accordingly, and just to that just involves a lot more paperwork and a lot more back and forth conversations with people I don't normally deal with. Also, this time of year happens to be our renewals for insurance and everything else. So I've been covered up in a lot more paperwork than I prefer, but it's necessary for the business. And so I feel a lot more positive now that a lot of these things are moving along in the right direction. Hopefully that answers your question. So.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff, could you tell us a little bit or share a little bit more about, so you talked a little bit about what's going on right now. Can you share a little bit about, and I guess the perspective I'm trying to come from is, if somebody's out there and they're like, okay, now I'm working remotely all the time, and now I got to figure out how to dive into every single aspect of business and how, to operate different parts of it, not just like producing, like sales and delivering on whatever it is that you've brought in, whether that's a civil engineering, like a road design contract or some sort of systems integration on the automation side of things. But whatever it is, there's still the back office functions that you perform for both Eric and I all the time, basically, and the things that you were just talking about. So can you just overview it? Like, what are the big things that you want to focus on from the get-go if you're trying to either build something for the ground up, or now that you're in this position, okay, I got to figure out how to do this stuff remotely? Could you just, kind of big picture us there?
Yeah. So big picture, are you referring to like if you were going to go start your own business, or if you're just all of a sudden going to work from home? You've got to envision things, begin with the end in mind. You may have heard that before, but a lot of people in business may go a little cheaper on the front end, and to say that is negligible, because you can get anything that you need to support your business. Just as a general statement, you can get on a software as a service type basis, right? So you can pay a monthly subscription fees if you need to. So it's not like the old days where you had to pay thousands of dollars for licenses upfront, to purchase programs. You can go monthly. So don't start too cheap, I would think. Figure out what you need for your business so that it runs from the financial, whatever you're going to do from the financial, from the payroll side, all the way up. And then also, you may use vendors for that. So we have a payroll processing vendor, obviously. And so, make sure that if you are going to work remote, or you're going to have that type of relationship with somebody, that you really vet them out for how they integrate with what other programs you have, because it's important anytime you can save steps. So, obviously the challenges that you have is you can't just walk into somebody's office. Somebody can't hand you a timesheet. So you've got to make your systems work in such a way that are easy for whoever's on the other end of the receiving it, right? It's not just about you being able to work on your computer in your house. It's about how it's going to be received on the other end, whether it be how people sign off on things. So you got to think about that. How do you want to manage your document flow? How do you want to manage your files, right? All digitally. And then also, how do you, if you have employees working for you, how are they going to turn in time? If that time needs to be approved by someone else who's in another site, how is that going to be approved? Is that seamless? Is it a pain? So many people are doing things in a seamless way that it shouldn't be, you shouldn't have to email documents back and forth and back and forth. It should be able to work within your systems, so that you don't have to continuously, download and copy and paste. And, for us, being able to do everything in the cloud, if you will, is great. So if one of my dogs or cats jumps here and destroys my computer somehow, I can just get another one and log back on. I've already had to do that. So, and we continue working on it. So, so I would say, also get comfortable. I mean, I guess I'm segueing into a few things about my efficiency, and I don't know if you want to answer that or not now, but why don't you just go ahead with your next question and we can get to that in a minute. What's next?
No, that's fine. So I guess the other question is this: what's the biggest challenge you're facing right now in regards to remote work or the economic conditions in regards to your piece?
Well, as a business owner, the number one challenge is economic, right? So our job is to open the doors every day, if you will, figuratively speaking, so that people that work with us and for us and what companies we support can continue to count on that, right? So economic is always front of mind, especially right now. So, kind of reevaluating, target companies, industries that you focus in, and especially on Converge, and helping support that in any way we can from a data perspective, historical and future data perspective is important. So I guess the next thing is that adds stress to all of your employees, right? Everything economic, anything that's different can add stress, and especially if you have to have people that are working remote. So sure. The challenge and not every day is a big challenge, but the goal, which is also a challenge at times, is to make sure our systems are working correctly, so that it's a smooth part of everyone's day. Again, you don't want to band-aid stuff. You don't want to work around stuff. You want to at least make the systems people are working with stress-free, right? So many, many years ago, I was in the restaurant business, and we found that people quit. Pay was always the last thing. Obviously, you have managers, what have you, but broken equipment, have to work around stuff, right? Having to work around processes, broken processes, things that just, if you look at it and you think, man, it should work this way, we'll figure out how to make it work the seamless way, period. Attack it, because there is a more seamless way. And that adds more stress than pay to people's day. And that stress builds up. So having things work seamless is crucial. And from a back office standpoint, that's part of our job every day. So hopefully that answers your question.
I was gonna jump in here, Jeff. I'm gonna drop maybe a bit of a bomb here. So kind of transition, because I was gonna ask about any notable successes that you've had kind of in this time, especially since the COVID-19 pandemic really set in. But before then, if you have any notable successes during that, let's definitely dive in. But before that, I would like to ask you about a particular challenge that you may have experienced 6 or 8 months ago with a payroll provider. Wow. Who was basically foundational to a business endeavor. And Eric, I know that you're intimately familiar with what I'm referring to. So do you mind just kind of, I don't even know where you start in that whole thing, but do you mind just kind of briefly overviewing?
In general, challenges are going to arise, things you never thought of. Who would have thought of the coronavirus? You're not going to, you might think of this potentially now, but these aren't things that you plan for. Typically, when you go out and start a business, you're happy, got clients running, Well, part of our systems that we have, Converge resources, we do have a lot of people that we have working out on contract and consulting with all of our other clients, right? So we have payroll there, for both the internal, external employees, and that payroll system is integrated with our other systems, and so that it would work seamless, right? So even from a back office perspective, we're able to do, there's no reason to have an extra person just because your systems don't talk to each other. So we integrated a company called My Payroll HR into our CRM and into our time and expense and fully integrated into our back office. And they went bankrupt a few months ago. So that was a huge challenge because, you pay to integrate these systems. So now we have to find another vendor to do this work in a short notice. So it's almost impossible to do that overnight. We were able to do it fairly quickly, but what that means is that brings other challenges. Well, first of all, the new vendor, you have to get them reintegrated, right? And so that takes some time. You have to get your historical data. You have to move that over. It's never fun, but we did it. We buckled down and we got that done. But the other things you have to think about is in that interim point, I still had to pay people. So now talk about doing payroll by hand and wiring people money. We made sure everyone got paid on time. Huge pain from the back office standpoint. Huge. I don't even know if people even know how to do payroll by hand anymore. But the point is that, we were able to also get that done. And, of course, they took tax money from us and they didn't pay our taxes. And so, we may never see that money again. Sucks, but, what can you do? They're bankrupt. So, we put our big boy pants on and we dove into it. I can tell you that we went with a company called Employee Drive for our new payroll processing. They're very specific to, not specific, I guess that they have a great platform. They could work in any business, I think, but they do really well with integrating with the solutions that we have for specific to the IT staffing and consulting business, Converge resources. So they've been awesome to work with, especially under the circumstances. Their CEO even called me late at night when we first got this thing going and just reassured me that they'd be there for you. So those are the types of vendors that you want, relationships. Businesses, and you're making money, but you got to remember, one thing that I always think about is when we need something from our vendors, it's not just because I may have a bright, shiny personality. I mean, that could vary given the day of the week, right? And I don't always talk to them all the time. But one thing they know is we pay our bills and we pay them before they're due. And I've worked with a lot of companies over the years. And one of the frustrating things in business is when people don't pay their bills on time, and especially the ones that want to come back and ask you for favors later. And it's just, it's a courtesy, right? And especially when we're on a staffing side, when we're front loading your payroll, basically floating it, right? So you get the payroll, we're paying them. We pay people every week, and we'll never not do that. And yet some people want to kind of not pay their bills on time. But, our vendors step up. I think I want the biggest respect that I can give to vendors paying the bills on time,
Yeah.
Because most of the communication is done, typing words into messaging or into emails, right? But they know. And I think that's important. So when you get in crunch time, you should, as a business owner, you should think about that, because you need your vendors when you don't think you're going to need them, right? There's going to be something that isn't working or something that you need fixed, or maybe you have an idea, or maybe you need to request something. So it just remember that. I think for most people in business, I think, your job is to keep the business open, have it from a back office perspective, have things running smooth. So all the people that are running with your business and interacting with your clients don't have any hiccups or any stress there. And then you pay your bills on time. So those are things that are pretty much core values, I think, from a back office consulting side, from what I do in that area. So,
yeah. And any, just during this time then here, any notable successes that you feel like you'd like to highlight, just in this, it's probably a lot of little wins every day, but.
Yeah, there's a lot of little wins every day, especially when you run payroll and you deal with people working in different states, and you deal with, time cards that have to be turned in and invoices that have to be done. Inevitably, as much as we have all that linked together, there's still some human interaction from the initial input to the approval process to the actual delivery. The systems can have errors sometimes, and you're never going to think about every single scenario. So sometimes you're going to have some manual override or manual input on top of that. So you're not going to ever remove the human piece. And just remember that, because you're going to make an error somewhere at times. And it's not about the error. It's about fixing it immediately when it happens. So don't wait, don't put it off, just fix it. And, sometimes you have to bug people. Sometimes you may look like an idiot. I got to put my hand up on that because, and you're like, God, I don't want to think I look like an idiot, but we're human. Okay. Humans do idiot things and not on purpose. I mean, it happens, you're doing multiple things and sometimes, you fat finger a button and the number gets in the wrong place. And so it is what it is. Just fix it. And I say that because today I fixed an invoice from a client who emailed me. And anyway, let's just say a timesheet got put in that was identical to the previous week. It was the wrong one. So it doesn't matter. We got it fixed in less than a day and everybody's happy. So.
Yeah.
Is there any?
I don't know if that a success. I mean, I would say it's just that we're still able to deliver, and we're keeping our doors open, and we didn't get hammered too much on our insurance renewals. That was good.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
thank you. Big help. So, is there any tool, concept, strategy that you've leveraged in remote work that you want to talk about as a quote unquote game changer?
Well, I think what a game changer is about your process and your daily routine, right? So that's something that mine's gotten out of whack. I think with a lot of people, it's gotten out of whack, a little bit. So that can be tough. But I will say, the tools that you have, right? Again, that workaround. There's some things that you can do yourself. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I can only provide you with the software, et cetera, et cetera. When you're at your home, you know where you'd like to work and where you can focus. But a couple of things that are important game changers for me versus having one that isn't good. Headset, we're on the phone right now. I'm talking through the computer on this chat, but typically I'm on the phone, right? So if you're on the phone, I find that headsets, you can always hear music fine, but you never really realize what you sound like to other people, right? And so the cheap ones, I've tried them all. I've tried multiples. You sound like crap to the person on the other end of the line, and it's annoying as heck. You might as well be, your stereotypical call center in another country from the 90s. So, it sounds horrible. So we've invested, in that. And I've had good ones before, and they don't always, unfortunately, those headsets are a lot like phones. I think you probably should change them out about every other year. So, and you're talking a couple $100, but it is what it is. That's one. Number two, if you're working from home and you're doing multiple things, even if you're having 2 programs open, let's say you have an email or even 3, a calendar, and maybe whatever other program you work in most of the time, it's great to have multiple screens. The flipping back and forth is, that's seamless. And I went with that one because I had an animal attack one, and I went with that one for a month just because I was pissed and I wasn't going to buy one. And you know what? That was just foolish. I got another one about a week ago, and I'm thinking, why the heck? And was I just being stubborn, because I didn't want to buy one. That was just stupid. It was inefficient. So now I've got my other monitor and it's just great. So, I mean, it's just like a breath of fresh air, when your systems work right. And then I would say the other thing would be a stand-up desk. I have one. Mine, there's a lot of different ones out there. You just need to make sure that it's sturdy when it's all the way up, depending on what you want to put on it. But I have one. I found there's all these fancy electronic ones, but I found one accidentally, and I want to say it's Office Depot, Office, whichever one that exists right now. I was there for something completely different, and I saw this desk, but it operates a lot like your chair, where you have like a little handle on it, and you just pull it, and you pull it up and push it down. It's real seamless. There's no electronics on it. I don't have to plug it in and have something along the wall, and it's sturdy, and big. And that was great too. That was a good one. I wasn't sure that I was ever going to get into that, but I got it, and I really do like it. So those would be the things for me: headset, more than one monitor, and the stand-up desk. So
it's like that old feel good, look good, sound good, work good sort of mentality.
Yeah,
your box is checked.
If it annoys you even a little bit and you're working from home, change it. That's all.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I was just gonna. Well, I guess at this point it's just kind of where can people learn about the work that you do or the businesses that you work in? But before that, anything else you want to add or?
No, I support our business in a lot of the boring ways to most people who are in our businesses. They don't enjoy the financial and the accounting and all that other kind of stuff. If you come from the operation side like I did, right? So you enjoy more of that. But it's fun because we have people that are awesome and they really good at what they do. They work hard. So to see people use the systems you have and for the company to be successful or be able to grow, at least, we're still with Converge, we're right at a year old. So, we're nowhere near comfortable. We want to keep growing. And so that we have to spend some money a little bit to do that. But having the systems and the people you bring in, having people see how we operate internally when they've come from other companies and think, oh, wow, I love this. I wish we had this over there. I get a thrill when somebody says, I wish I had this or that, wherever they used to work. That's cool to me. So, and I don't mean the trinkets that you get in the office. I'm talking about just from operational efficiency, what you work with every day. So, right. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. If you want to, in regard to that, so if you want to see what our companies do, obviously go to civilsearch.com. My bio would be there. And if you want to, and obviously you can always, Jeff at civilsearch.com, that's here. But convergeresources.com is for, Eric's over there, and that's our IT/OT staffing company and recruiting company. And it's got, both of them have, I think, a good amount of information that explains what we do. And obviously jobs are there as well. And I have an email there, Jeff at convergeresources.com. But that's, like I said, I'm just, I'm only in managing the back office. I do actively recruit for Civil Search, and I love it. I wish I could do it more, but I also enjoy the other part of our businesses as well. So.
Well, I think Eric and I both appreciate all the work that you do on the backside. Yeah, we are beneficiaries of a lot of your hard work, so appreciate that. Eric, you got anything else that you want to run by him or anything like that?
That's it. Thank you for saving me on a variety of different headaches. Well, on yourself.
It's what we're here for. Just attack them when they come and move on. So
cool. Right. Well, thanks, bud. Appreciate it. Right. I'll just close this out here, if I may. So just want to say, anybody that's tuning into this, thanks for checking out Remote Workshop. Again, our plan is to have somebody from mine or from Eric's network on to have a conversation like this. And so you can tune into those on this YouTube channel for Remote Workshop. So whether you are watching via YouTube, on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, feel free to drop some feedback for us or any questions. Be happy to interact in the comments there, I suppose. Feel free also to reach out directly, of course. And if you're either in civil infrastructure or IT and automation and want to reach out directly, again, that'd be great. Next time on here, we will have Ahmed Valdez, who is the founder and president of AKV Consulting Engineers. They're a civil engineering firm. Ahmed himself, he's a structural engineer and transportation engineer. So I'll be happy to catch up with Ahmed, a friend of mine and industry contact on the civil side. We're looking forward to that too. So thank you for checking us out, and hope to keep going here and see if it's helpful. And I hope it is helpful for anyone that might be tuning in. Thanks a lot.